Bienvenidos al podcast Desde la Línea.
Desde la línea podcast te estoy cantando. Desde la línea podcast improvisando. Le doy las gracias todito a todos mis hermanos por estos años que yo a los niños he dedicado. Desde la línea podcast, desde la línea podcast. ¡Mira, wow!
Dímelo Corrillo, que es la que hay. Saludos y bienvenidos a Desde la Línea Podcast en su edición 1 para 1. Esta semana tenemos con nosotros, oye, ella es olímpica con el equipo de Puerto Rico y en verdad se le extraña un montón. I miss your game a lot. Y she is Jazmon Gwathmey. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, good. I'd like to start this podcast with the first question. The question is, who is Jazmon?
Jazmon is a Virginia-born Puerto Rican / African-American kid who just grew up loving sports, grew up with a loving family who loved to watch me do sports and fell in love with the game of basketball. A very simple person. I wake up, I play basketball, come home to my family, and that's pretty much it. There's not much to me other than just seizing the moment that was given to me, the talent that was given to me, and that's basketball. That's all I am.
How did you first get into the basketball?
When I was younger, my dad kind of put me and my sister in, different sports. We tried everything from tennis, softball, basketball, soccer, even cheerleading at one point. And it came to a point where it was just, find a sport that you really love, and basketball was that one thing. That and soccer, it was one sport where I can just run around. I had a lot of energy as a kid. So, but my height was my advantage. So basketball definitely stuck with me.
Is it interesting your parents say, let me put you in the old sport you can play and you choose your favorite sport?
Yeah, I'm glad they did that. I feel like a lot of parents should do that. I know that a lot of these, NBA players, WNBA players are having kids and they want their kid to play basketball. But at the end of the day, it's, whatever the kid loves. They might not have a basketball body, my sister had a girl, and she's almost 6 this year. And I would love for her to play basketball. She's tall, she's thin, but that girl loves to flip around like a cheerleader. And it's just something you got to accept, But yeah, I'm glad that my dad and my mom were, acceptant, like us, to choose what we like to do and what we love at the end of the day.
What been your proudest moment on the court?
I think there's a lot of proud moments in my career on the court. One being winning a championship in Manatí. That was my first and only championship as a professional. I'm glad I was able to do it in Puerto Rico at that. I guess another moment would be being drafted into the WNBA. That was always a dream of mine, and it became a reality. And then the third would be, breaking history and getting the women's national team to the Olympics for the first time. It wasn't in the playbooks. It wasn't a dream of mine, but the accomplishment itself was heavy. It was really heavy because the amount of responsibility that came with that, it felt good.
When you go, you got these 3 proudest moments on the court, but if you can only take one.
I would say qualifying for the Olympics, because it represented more than just myself. It was very emotional. It was very emotional when that happened. And because I was never supposed to be on the Puerto Rican national team. Nobody knew about me. until I got drafted into the league. That's when Jerry, and Tony found me. All that time I was in college, nobody knew that I had Puerto Rican blood in me, which is fine. It wasn't something that I was disappointed or even knew about. I was just focused on one thing, and that was college and then getting into the league. But yeah, uh, it represented, Puerto Rico, not Gwathmey or, my mom's maiden name Campos. It's everybody, all the Puerto Rican blood that's been born either on that island or in the States. It was special.
You tell me for the moment when Jerry and Tony uh try to confine you. You can tell me a little bit for the experience. When Jerry and
It
Tony
was,
talk to
yeah,
you.
it was funny. It was funny. It was my rookie season. I was in San Antonio, but I was actually playing in DC, and they had contacted me and they wanted to meet me. So they flew to DC. I think my agent was with me at the time, Tisha Penichero, and they were explaining, they were like, look, we would love for you to come play. It's a great opportunity. We need somebody like you, et cetera, et cetera. And I wanted to go. It was something like, oh, this is different. Like, of course I want to, play for the national team. There's no chance of me playing for the USA team, So hell yeah, I want to play for the national team. And it was all said and done when it came down to me leaving to go to play for a tournament. I don't remember which one. Maybe AmeriCup. I'm not sure. It was during a crucial part of my career where I ended up starting because of injuries, and I had gone most of my rookie season not playing. And so I was afraid to leave at that moment because of the situation I was put in, starting and getting minutes. And so I never ended up playing for the national team when they invited me, which it hurt me because, it was a great invitation. It was a good moment to go. But at the time when they asked me, but then, as time went on, things changed. So, uh, I talked to Jerry. I was like, look, this is not a right moment for me to leave. And ironically, that tournament was the first time that Puerto Rico had beat Cuba
Mm-hmm.
to qualify for the World Cup. And it was beautiful. I'm so glad that they were able to do that because clearly it wasn't you know, a tournament that they needed me. They just wanted me, and so then the following year, maybe a year and a half later, that's when things kind of changed for my career and I was let go um, from the league, which is fine. It happens. It's a business. Everybody knows it. People come, people go. Um, and I called Jerry. I said, look, I want to come play. And that was all she wrote. Yeah.
Interesting, when you talk maybe for the injuries, something like that, is when the player represented the national team is a proud, everything is beautiful, but maybe everybody know, or maybe I don't know, then the people know, uh the players play for free,
Mhm.
or maybe only insurance sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
It's tough.
for represented the national team. Y whatever situation you got in this tournament, that was got the consequence in your professional team. But maybe you lose the
Yeah.
contract, or maybe you lose the season. If
Yeah.
you lose the team, we pay your bills.
Yeah, yeah. That was always, I mean, for a lot of players around the world, not, some countries they pay their players, which is great. Some players don't. Some players get some money, but at the end of the day, the overall for every country is, you have players that have a professional job outside of the national team, and so for them to leave their professional job is always an issue. It's always been an issue, and that's why it's so hard to keep good teams solid, get down. But yeah, it's hopefully it can change. Hopefully a lot of these countries can develop programs where they can pay their players substantial amount of money. I'm not talking bukus, money, but enough to take care of them while they're there, so that they can be stable.
When I talk to another players for different countries, I talk to, when I got this podcast, I got the opportunity for talk to different players for different places. Yeah, to you the truth, I see a lot of good players in Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and the whole Central America, or maybe in the Caribbean or South America. But the only difference with these players between to the maybe USA or Canada is only one thing. He can play 24/7, 24/7. If this guy not, if there was a different in the final in the final games or different something affect your play in the court.
Yep. Yeah, it's not a lifestyle for them. It's something that they love to do, but they have to have something on the side to support them. Unfortunately, and it takes maybe 50-60% of their mental away from the game because they're having to survive. Literally, that's what it is. It's surviving. I've been blessed to, my side hustle is still playing basketball. I had the national team, but my side hustle was basketball. So a lot of these players that are great players have to have, I hate to say it, but real world jobs, working that 9 to 5.
Yes, it's true. How difficult was it for you to make the decision to retire from the Puerto Rico national team?
It was difficult. Throughout my time with the national team, and when I say this is all decisions that I made myself. There was no pressuring. There was no nothing from the federation or anything. I played through a lot of injuries. And it was my own mentality. It was my own competitiveness that drove me to keep playing, because I loved competing with the girls on the floor. I loved the challenge. Even if in the beginning, we were getting beat by 30, 40 points, in tournaments, but we didn't care. It was all about just having that dog mentality. And over the years, over the tournaments, I'm having to play heavy minutes, and then I'm having to leave those tournaments and then go work for 8 months and battle through those injuries as well. And so now it comes down to a point is, okay, what's paying my bills? And so I had to prioritize, my professional career, my contracts over the national team because they're paying my bills. And so, yeah, it was not something that I wanted to do, but it was a professional decision. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't, anything that it just popped up out of the blue. It's, I had been thinking about it for a long time, because everybody's saying, oh, you're young and, you can go back to the Olympics again. And I know. And that's why it was so hard for me to step away from the national team. But that last tournament in Mexico, when I ended up injuring my knee, I knew I wasn't ready for that tournament because I had already been trying to rehab my other knee, but I wanted to compete. I wanted to try to help the team. And that's my downfall, is where I always want to try to help as best as I can, even if I'm not 100%. So once that knee went out and I'm on crutches, I'm like, okay, it's done. There's no way that I can physically give myself 100% to this country anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, it was really difficult. It was really, really difficult. My wife cried. She didn't even know I was going to do it. My dad was supportive. My mom, of course, she was supportive, but the feedback I got, I was scared. I was very scared for what the people of Puerto Rico were going to think and say. But it was the total opposite. I got love. I got compassion. Everything that was thrown at me was just so beautiful. And that was emotional for me, because, when I first stepped in, to the national team, they were a little skeptical of me, oh, she's American, and rightfully so. Nobody really likes to see, these random faces pop up on the national team. But they took me in so quick once they saw how I competed. And so it was like getting rid of or stepping away from family. So it's still hard for me today, honestly. It's still hard.
Another question I have you thought about maybe returning to the national team?
It's funny you say that because I took my wife and we went to the Paris Olympics. I wanted to see the girls compete, for them to experience, a traditional Olympics, because when we went, it was COVID, nobody was there. So yeah, we went and I saw the atmosphere and I saw the love that was given from all countries, those fans that came just to watch. They didn't even know who the hell Puerto Rico was, but they were cheering on Puerto Rico, they didn't care. And my wife's sitting next to me. She's like, look, Jazz, I know you're retired, but what about, you just come back to the tournaments that they really, really need you and
the next one is in Los Angeles. It's more easy for travel.
And try to get them to the LA Olympics. And I'm like, look, she's like, that'd be so good. Then we can fly there. And she just had this whole plan just planned out for me. And I was just like, you know what, Amore, that sounds lovely. I was like, but I don't think it would be fair for me to do that, honestly. Because once I stop, even this Olympics in Paris, I had the opportunity to come back and help and play, but I didn't feel that it was right for me to join that team that fought to get to where they were. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel right. I was like, you know what? I will be there, but I'm gonna be in the stands cheering y'all asses on because y'all deserve the spotlight. I don't want to just come in when the spotlight was, already on them. It just wasn't, it's not in me. It's not in my blood. But who knows? I mean, I had surgery on my knee. My knee's doing lovely. I still have some other ailments that I'm working on. So who knows? Who's to say I don't pop up one day as a player? I don't know, as a coach. Who knows? I can't say right now because I'm living in the moment. I got my career here. I live here in Milan. So we'll see.
I understand what you think and respect your opinion, but it will take a long time for a players like you to make it to the Puerto Rican national team. I feel sorry for the girls of the new generation, but the national team don't have players like you on its roster. You do really difference in the team, but you got a lot of different skills. You can shoot, you can rebound, you can guard, you can pass. You got everything. I respect your opinion, but I will be special for the fans to see you back for one last time on the Puerto Rico national team. And I tell you the truth, the national team don't have any player like you right now. I'm sorry, but I don't think so. I got close to maybe 10 or more years,
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, it's my opinion.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. No, I know that. I mean, I hear it all the time. It's like people tell me I'm like a rare breed. I just, I don't consider myself a special player. I've always, when I played growing up, I did what was necessary. I mean, even up until college, I probably could have averaged 20 plus points all 4 years. I could have averaged double or anything but I did what was necessary. And I think that's what made my career now so special because throughout my high school, college career, I specialized in different categories when it was needed. So when we needed rebounding, I was flying through there like a bat out of hell to get those balls. When it came to defending, their best players, that's what I specialized in the time that it was needed. So shooting. One of our best players goes down with ACL. Okay, time to shoot the ball. Sorry. Cali. So yeah, there's different categories. Get down. That I specialized in was because it was needed. It wasn't because I wanted to do it. It was told, it was given to me. It was just like, okay, I see things happening. And so, yeah, that kind of made me into this little hybrid of player who can do it all. And I guess I can see why, people love watching me play because I do what's necessary. I'm not a very selfish player, and sometimes I should be, but that's my downfall as well. I don't, take over when I should take over because I feel like playing as a team is the most important thing as a team sport. But overall, that being said, like, who knows if I pop up in LA, might be a spectator, might be a player. Who knows if I might come back to Puerto Rico and play in the league. There's so much. I feel like I have a lot to give in my career still, maybe a few more years. I ain't gonna reach the 40s because that just ain't happening. I want to enjoy my body and run around with kids eventually. So, yeah.
But you come back for the BSNW. You're more close to the come back to the national team, right? You take this decision, you come back to the league, just too close for you say yes for come back to the national team.
That's what I'm saying. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen in the next couple of years? I got 3 years until 3 years until LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Jerry, llama a Jazmon, llámala.
He knows not to call me.
If you could change one thing about your sport or your career, what you change?
One thing I would change about the sport,
or your career?
Well, I guess that they're two separate things because the sport itself, you want to see it great for everybody. You want to see everybody succeed. You want to see so many opportunities given. But unfortunately, it's not as easy, for women and even men to play on a high level, But okay, I'll start with my career. I think the one thing I would change is learning to be my own advocate early. Because again, this is just like any other career. If you are not producing, you can be replaced. If it's something that needs to be said, that's for your own well-being, it needs to be said by you, hands down. You are just a piece in a chess game to these club owners, to these GMs, and they move you where they want to move you until you speak up for yourself. That's one thing that I would have changed early in my career. I know it now, and that's why, I've been in this club here in Milan for 5 years because I advocated for myself. They respected it. And now they won't get rid of my ass for some reason. They keep asking me to come back. But as far as to the game, I would change the outlook, that some people have on women's sport all over the world. Because here, women's basketball just became professional. So these athletes here that were playing, I have a teammate that's been in this league for 19 years. She's just now considered a professional player, and she's probably one of the top shooters in the league. That dynamic needs to change. If we're playing basketball and we're getting paid to do it, it's a professional job. And I think for Puerto Rico and that aspect of building the game for women, it needs to change. And I think it is. I know a lot of people there are trying to build the game for women, which is beautiful. I was there 2 summers ago and I did a clinic for young girls. And the people that showed up, it was amazing. The kids that wanted to learn. Raul did a fantastic job with Dream Chasers Basketball Clinic. He did a fantastic job. And I think it's people like him that are growing the game for women, not just men. But yeah, that's probably the only thing I would change, just the outlook of women itself. We are professionals. We do this job probably, I would say, better than men because we put more our mental capacity into it. The men have the physique, they have the physical aspect, but it takes more than that to be a professional. And I think that's what really needs to change.
Before the end of the podcast, I cannot leave it to you for asking you for your time in the JMU. I need asking you, I live in Harrisonburg, but when I come here, Jazmon is not there. I see the new generation players, but you got that great numbers there. Tell me a little bit for this experience here.
Yeah, JMU. I committed to JMU very early. I think my sophomore year in high school, I committed early. And I knew that I could have gone to, the Georgetowns or the UVA. I had those recruitments, but JMU, it felt like home. But really stuck with me was Coach Brooks. He sat me down, and I think the first question he asked me, he says, "Do you want to make it to the league?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Okay, you meet me halfway, I'll get you there." Just bet. That was what really got me to go there. And throughout my time, it wasn't easy. My freshman year, I had to sit out because of health issues. I had to be redshirted. I was pretty much just a practice dummy. There was times where I would go home for break, and then I told my mom, I ain't going back. And then she called Coach Brooks. She said, "Come get this girl and send her ass back." That's how tough it was for me. Even my second year, I'm able to play now, and it was still tough. I'm having to compete against all these great players, and I'm getting beat up. I'm skinny, but I'm getting cussed out. Yeah, I feel like he picked days to where he's like, "All right, I'm gonna mess with Jazz today. Let's see what I can do to push her over the edge and how she reacts." But over time, I became mentally stronger. I got physically stronger. And so those days where he stopped messing with me because he knew he couldn't push me anymore. He knew that he was building, a strong player. And I ended up being really, really good for some reason. I stopped being scared of the moment. I stopped being, I wouldn't say unselfish. I started to be a little bit more selfish when it came to certain things. And then all of a sudden you take in energy from the crowd. I don't know if you were there when the Convocation Center was open. We were playing there.
Yeah, the whole one, yeah, I
now.
can see it, yeah.
That place rocked.
Because it's different, I talked to the new player, the new international player, because 3 days ago, asking him, you go to the old stadium, but you need to go to there, But it's not the same with the fans, but the only you can go there, I got something special there.
Yeah, a lot of blood, a lot of tears, a lot of sweat in that place, and a lot of banners were hung. And the crowd that would come for our games, even we had more bigger fans than the men, and
that is true. Right now it's the same too, I think so. The last year, the girls he lost the final for the 3 points, I think so, in overtime. The final for the champions.
Yeah, it was special. It was special though, because you knew hey, you hit 79 points, they're getting free nuggets from Chick-fil-A. Like it was like that type of atmosphere. Like it was amazing. We loved having game days at home. It was people were scared to come play at home because they knew that our fans were crazy. Our band, our pet band, they were ridiculous. And it was I didn't it sucks because sometimes I still wish I was in college, you know, just to have that atmosphere, playing professional again, women, not a lot of people know about us, not a lot of people want to come watch. We get a good fan base, but it's nothing like college. It was incredible, honestly. But yeah, my college career, I met a lot of good people. I made a lot of connections, but I mean, Coach Brooks, I still talk to him to this day. He sends me random text messages. I still follow his team, even when he was at Virginia Tech. Now in Kentucky, I still follow him. Coach O, I still hit him up sometimes. He still hits me up randomly, asking if I'm still alive. But yeah, it's crazy. JMU, man, it's a place like no other. It's family oriented. The community is lovely. I mean, I'm sure it's grown since I've left. It was just a little town when I was there, and now I'm sure that they've built so much because they buy up everything and make it better.
Yeah, it's more bigger right now. Harrisonburg is something special, but it's a small town, but right now it's a little bit more bigger. But I don't know. Here is something special, feeling at home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I even after I graduated and I still had a house there. I had rented a house, and every time I had to come back from wherever I was playing, that's where I would go, Harrisonburg. And so it was definitely my home away from home. So, I mean, I'm hoping to go back there. I haven't been back there. I haven't seen the new arena. I would love to see it. This coming April, my wife and I will be in the States for about a month. So I'm hoping to make it down there and see the place that built my career pretty much.
Yeah, the new schedule is amazing, When I heard you talk to the JMU, it's not specifically maybe not the JMU, but the college basketball is, I don't know, I see like that. Maybe I say something wrong. You can tell me, But the college basketball is different, but you got only 4 years, maybe, or 3, or whatever. You stay there. Whatever you do, maybe it's special in this moment. But when I count the new generation players, it's okay. It's good. Go the next one. I don't know. I feel it like that. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's in all sports now that this new, I mean, money is involved now. When I was in college, there was no money involved. As much as it was a noise in the background, oh, these players should be getting paid for their name and their image and their likeliness. Social media wasn't that big. It was a thing, but it wasn't that big. And so, when we were in college, we were there to play basketball and we were there to get a degree. And that was it. So we cherished those moments because we worked hard for those moments. And I'm not saying that this new generation doesn't work hard. There's a lot of great athletes, that are coming out of college now that I hate to say it, they make more than me. They're set for a while. And here I am having to still be in my 30s and try to make a decent contract, I think they're taking the experience for granted. And I see a lot of kids now coming into leagues over here, teams over here, and I'm going to say it, they're soft. They never had to, I wouldn't say earn it, but battle through adversity. Because because it was, they're in college. Hey, I'm making a nice check. I got all these endorsements, NIL deals, blah, blah, blah. Basketball was cool. It was fun. Got my degree. Okay. I'm just over here because, I wanted to travel. But when I came over here, I had to come over here because I needed to live. I needed to make money. And so it was a grind to get spots, to get contracts, to get decent contracts. So I think this whole NIL deal is kind of ruined the game for every sport. It's taken away from the adversity that a lot of us had to go through in our generation. Kind of know, and it's sad. It's really sad because, like I said, I wish I was in college. For those moments. That's why my picture's probably hanging up somewhere in that new arena because of the moments, that were made throughout my time there. Same with the Don Evans, the Tamara Youngs, the Kirby Burkholder, the Nikki Newmans. All of us had to grind through something at some point there, and that's always going to be stuck with us. I just wish it was like that still for the younger generation.
And if maybe when I go back to the stadium, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 ago, maybe the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'll double check the wall for the moment. I'll let you know.
I'm hoping they're up there because they were definitely up there in the convo. We had the big glass cases with pictures and
I remember,
milestones, and those milestones meant something to us because we worked so hard for them. So I'm glad that I'm sure JMU culture is relatively the same. Coach O was he was there from the beginning since I was there. So I'm sure he's tried to keep the culture alive as far as bleeding purple, the purple and gold. So love the man to death. I'm sure that he's doing his best. But yeah, I think overall, athletes all over the country, it's just different. It's different.
Jazmon, thank you for the opportunity. For me, it's an honor to talk to you. Talk to your career, talk to tie in the national team of Puerto Rico, for the AMU and everything. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you. I'm more than happy to do stuff like this. I'm just glad you hit me up, Luis. It's sometimes it's a little scary to be away from the national team or be away from home because you kind of step out of the spotlight. I'm here in Milan, it's going on 10 a.m. and it's going on 4 a.m. your time. So it's sometimes out of sight, out of mind, but I'm glad that you hit me up. Keep me relevant, I guess.
No, for me, I told you it's an honor. I told you whatever I told you, in the podcast, it's my mind. It's the true one. I think about your play, about your game. I think so. You're really special. I understand you say you're not considered your game is special, but for us, for the fans, everything I know, your time in the national team is very special.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oye, quiero darle las gracias por llegar hasta aquí, escuchar el podcast, escuchar este episodio brutal. Oye, recuerda buscarnos en cualquier plataforma de podcast como Desde la Línea Podcast y en Instagram como Desde la Línea Podcast. Dale like, dale share, comparte este podcast con todo el mundo. Y si no sabes dónde puedes buscarnos, sencillo, vete a Instagram como Desde la Línea Podcast. Danos a seguir primero que todo para seguir con la meta de seguir creciendo y llegando a otros públicos. Y ahí hay un link del Linktree que lo llevará a todos los lugares donde estamos disponibles. Búscanos en YouTube como TLP Indazán para que no te pierdas otra parte del podcast que se llama El Extendido con Melo. Son 2 podcasts con la misma persona, pero son 2 temas completamente diferentes, así que búscala allá en YouTube como TLP Indazán para que escuches El Extendido. Oye, usted escucha esta pista que está de fondo en este outro es nada más y nada menos que con DJ Salva de España para el mundo. Así que oye, si necesitas una pista para tu intro, para tu outro, también para tu promo, también para tu demo, para lo que sea, escríbele a DJ Salva en Instagram y dile que vas de parte de Melo para que te trate con cariño. Shout out a DJ Salva, el mejor DJ de España. Y usted escucha, y usted ve el logo Desde la Línea, ¿verdad que está bien bonito? Usted ve los fondos que usamos para los extendidos, también para las noticias. Es nada más y nada menos que por AG Artists. Es la que tiene a todo el mundo al día en Puerto Rico. Equipos de baloncesto, le hace las promos a varios equipos del BCN. Así que contáctalas en Instagram como AG Artists. Y por último, pero no menos importante, gracias por la oportunidad. Recuerda darle like, darle share, compartir esto con todo el mundo y dejarnos 5 estrellas en Instagram. Que tengan buen día, se me cuidan.